Good morning, friends. I'm Dr. Nikhil Saket. I'll be taking you through the subject business economics, which is part of the BoS success, BoS for your success plan that is been initiated by the Board of Studies to help students regarding their preparation for the all the subjects at the foundation level. So I'll be taking you through the fourth subject, that is business economics, and I'll be talking about the details about the subject, what are the important topics, what are the weightage, what is the examination pattern, and some summary about the different topics. So the first thing is, we'll be talking about the guidelines. We'll be talking about the syllabus and the weightage. We'll be giving you some examination tips and brief of the chapters. First thing is, what is the pattern of examination of paper 4, that is business economics. Now, the structure of examination is multiple choice questions. All questions carry 1 mark each. Each question should have 4 choices, out of which 1 would be correct. So you are expected to tick on the right options out of the available 4. Now, we receive a lot of queries regarding the pattern of examination and the questions regarding negative marking. Now, it is regarding negative marking, it is very much there in paper 3 and 4. There is negative marking for paper 3 and 4. There will be deduction of 1/4 of the marks for each wrong or incorrect responses. Multiple darkened circles will also be treated as wrong responses in these 2 papers. So while answering the paper, try to mark the correct answer only. Don't put 2 or 3 options as the correct answer. Now, the third is, what is the duration? What is the duration of the examination for foundation examination? The duration of examination is of 2 hours. The next thing is, what is the section-wise weightage? I'll be giving you the detail regarding the section-wise weightage and the topics that is been there in each of the sections. Only thing is, in business economics, there will be 60 questions of 1 mark of objective type, and there will be negative marking for the wrong answers also. Now, there is an important quote that the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. Since your examination is in the month of June, so it is high time to get into the preparation mode and study the subject thoroughly, so that you are being able to do very well in the examinations. Because this is the first step in your CA journey. First clearing the foundation, then intermediate, and then the final one. The business economics paper is been divided into 5 different sections. The first section is comprising of introduction to business economics, meaning and scope of business economics, basic problems of economics, and role of price mechanism. Is basically introducing you to the concept of business economics. What is the distinction between micro and macroeconomics? What is economics is all about? These are basically given in detail in this chapter or unit, and the weightage for this unit is 15% to 20%. The next unit is the theory of demand and supply. where you will be talking about the meaning and determinants of demand, elasticity of demand, price, income, and cross elasticity of demand, consumer behavior, there is Marshallian approach and the indifference curve approach, meaning and determinants of supply, law of supply, market equilibrium, and social efficiency and demand forecasting. Then the third unit is of theory of production and cost. It consists of meaning and factors of production, law of production, law of variable proportion, law of return to scale, producer equilibrium, concept of cost, short-run cost, long-run cost, average cost, marginal cost, total fixed cost, variable cost, and section 2 and 3 combined weightage is 35 to 40%. So this is an important section, and you should concentrate working on this unit. Then the fourth is the price determination in different market. This is also very important. And the weightage for this unit is 25 to 30%. In price determination in different markets, we are talking about the various forms of market. That is perfect competition, monopoly, monopolistic competition, and oligopoly. How the price determination in this market is being done, price output determination and the different market is how that is being determined, we'll be discussing about in detail. And the weightage for this unit is 25 to 30%. There's a question from a student that, sir, had applied CA foundation exam in March. Is it a June or December attempt? Please let me know. Now there are, that is basically the examination unit will be giving you the detail. There is some gap between you applied for and appearing in the examination. Then the last unit is business cycle. That consists of 15 to 20% weightage. And here we are talking about the meaning, the phases of business cycle, the features, and the causes behind all these. So basically in business economics, there are 5 units which the student need to study, and I had already given you the detailed weightage, the pattern of questions regarding what is the percentage or what is the theory or what is the mechanism for negative marking. So all the chapters in foundation, all the 5 units that is there in the foundation is very important, because that is the base on which you will be having a foundation base in economics will helpful you in the intermediate and the final examination. Now, there are few things I want to tell you that is very important for preparation of the examinations. First is read the study material concept-wise and different questions in the BoS study material. First, read the concepts and try to practice the question which is been given at the end of each of the units or sections. Practice mock test papers and all the other test series that has been conducted by the Board of Studies, which will be give you the confidence regarding how is the level of your preparation. The most important thing in economics is comprehend the concepts and then remember the formulas. Because if you direct remember the formulas, now what is the logic behind deriving that formula, you won't be able to understand. And sometimes in the examination, there are questions that is related to the concept rather than the formula itself. So comprehend the concept and then remember the formulas. In economics, graph, diagrams, charts are very important. So try to practice graph and diagrams that has been given in your study material, because that is very important, because if you understand the graph correctly, means you have understood the concepts also. By seeing the graph itself, it will click in your mind that this is representing what. So try to practice graph, charts, and the diagrams that has been given in the study material, which has been quite helpful for you in the examination. Try to establish linkages between the concepts, as it is been very related. Like if we study demand and supply, now definitely the equilibrium concept is important, that is related to demand and supply only. So one concept is related to the another concept. Then one should not mug up the formulas, try to understand the logic behind the formulas. Practice numericals, although there is not many numerical questions that has been asked in the examinations, but whatever the numerical questions that has been given, try to practice it on a regular basis so that you remember the formula, and given the data, you are able to correctly calculate the thing that has been asked in the examination. Try to correlate the concept with what is happening around in the economy, because that is very important in economics. Like all the concept of demand, supply, indifference curve, production, cost, competitions, business cycles, what you study here is basically related with all the economic scenarios that you see across the globe, because all these fundamental concepts in economics is related with what you see around the world. So try to establish linkages with the concept that you are studying. Now, I'll be taking you a brief summary of the units that has been covered in your module or the exam in your syllabus. First thing is, what is business economics, or what is economics all about? Now, there are two important facts that is important, that human wants are unlimited and the resources are scarce. So economics is all about to satisfy wants with the limited resources. So economics is the study of the process by which the relatively scarce resources are allocated to satisfy the unlimited want of human beings in the society. Because the wants are unlimited and your resources are scarce, so is a process that the important wants are being satisfied with the resources that is being available. Now, the subject matter of economics is divided into two parts, microeconomics and macroeconomics. So microeconomics is basically talking about the individual units, consumer or firms, which make decision how to allocate their scarce resources. While macroeconomics is talking about the broader picture, is talking about the larger aggregates, overall level of outputs and employment, total consumption, savings, investments, imports, shifts over time. Microeconomics is not part of your at the syllabus at the foundation level. You'll be studying macroeconomics when you go ahead in your CA course. So business economics is basically integrate economic theory with business practices and relies on analysis in the formulation of business policies. So whatever the business policies is being framed is based on economic concept that we study, because ultimately the policy that is been formulated is been made to satisfy one segment or the other. So these concepts are very important while formulating the economics policy. Now, the basic problem is scarcity is it gives rise to many of the problems, because there are compelling wants and we had to satisfy with the limited resources. Then there are three important problems: what, how, and whom to produce are solved by different economies in different ways, because all these three economic problems, what, how, and whom to produce, is been are to be solved by different economics, and it has been solved in different ways. Then there is capitalist economy, there is socialist economy, and there is mixed economy. In the examination or in the study material, the definitions of all these three is been given in detail. Like a capitalist economy uses the tool of price mechanism. There is no external influences, while a socialist economy uses the tool of central planning, and a mixed economy uses both price mechanism and the central planning to solve its basic problem. Now the detail of all these three, the capitalist, socialist, and the mixed economy, is being very much elaborated in the study material. There are different characteristics also in the examination. You have been asked to mark which is the correct one. There will be three correct one and one the odd man out, which is the wrong one answer. So while studying this detail about the capitalist, socialist, and mixed economy, try to remember the characteristics or the significance of each of these and what is the distinction between capitalist, socialist, and mixed economy, because sometimes three characteristics of the capitalist economy is there and one of the socialist economy is there, and you had to distinguish which is the wrong one. So when you remember all the characteristics, you will be able to distinguish which is the wrong one. Then comes demand and utility. Demand is very important. All this economic concept is somewhere related to the demand itself. Now, demand means what? Demands mean desire or wish to buy and consume a commodity or services backed by adequate ability to pay and willingness to pay. Because your wish doesn't mean that you will get that thing. So it has to be backed by your ability and willingness to pay. The important factors that determine demands are price of related commodities, income of the consumer, taste and preferences, consumer expectations regarding future prices, composition of population, level of national income, consumer credit facility, and interest rates. Now, in the law of demand, as you are aware that it's a relationship between price and quantity. Now, assuming which all these factors that I'm talking about is constant. If you vary each of the factors, there will be changes in the demand curve. So that need to be clear in your mind that it is only the relationship between the price and the quantity, because As you increase the number of variables, so will be the shifting and the change in the demand curve. Elasticity is a very important topic at the foundation level. So you had to be clear about the concepts and the different types of elasticity that has been elaborated in your study module, like the income elasticity, the price elasticity, advertisement elasticity, cross elasticity, the arc elasticity. You try to remember the formulas of elasticity and what are the different significance and what are the factors that influence the particular elasticity. That is also been very much elaborated in your study module, and mostly the questions in the examinations are being asked from these unit based on what is been given in your study module only. So don't try to confuse yourself with too much of reading. Just clarity of these concepts will be helpful in doing well in the foundation examinations. Then there are two important theories, cardinal and ordinal. One thinks that utility can be measured in utils. Ordinal utility, that is the indifference curve analysis and all that you must have studied, basically put thrust on the ranking of the preferences. So accordingly, the different indifference curves gives the different preferences to the consumer. Then there is a concept of diminishing marginal utility and consumer surplus. Consumer surplus is basically what consumer is willing to pay and what he actually pays for it. The difference between what he is willing to pay and what he actually paid. The difference is basically the consumer surplus. So just I told you, concentrate on the elasticity part, because every time questions is been asked from elasticity. So what has been given in your study material, try to read it thoroughly and remember the formula for calculation of that particular elasticity. Like cross elasticity, there is price and quantity of the other goods. So what is the distinction between all these four elasticities that has been there itself, and the values of 0 to infinity, the value of elasticity. So what is the significance of this elasticity means, and the shape of the elasticity, that is also is important. So try to remember all these things which has been given in your study module. Then supply. Supply means the quantity of goods offered for sale at a particular price at a certain point of time, because supply also relate to price. And in equilibrium, the balance of demand and supply is very important, because if supply is less, demand is high, then the price will be high. Or if the if the supply is high and demand is less, the price will be less. So in economics, demand and supply plays an important role. The shape of the supply curve and the demand curve also determines the equilibrium level and the equilibrium price and the quantity. Now, the third unit in your study module is regarding production. See, if you have studied indifference curve thoroughly, what is the significance of indifference curve? What are the two goods that has been plotted on the different axes? What are the characteristics of indifference curve? Then immediately that will be helpful to you in understanding the isocon, which is there in the production chapter. Here we are talking about the isocon, that is the relationship between the capital and labor. So accordingly, the different characteristics of isocon is been given in the production unit. So you need to remember that what are the different factors of production, what is isocon, what is the slope of the isocon, what is the marginal rate of substitution. All these things is simple one, and that has been very much clearly elaborated in your study material. So try to study these things and try to remember also, because if you studied indifference curve thoroughly, now more or less at least 25% in isocon, you'll be able to understand it very easily. So what is production? Production is the outcome of combined activities of 4 factors of production, that is land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. In simple words, production means creation of utility. In simple words, production means creation of utility. Production does not work out of love and affection, voluntary services and goods for self-consumptions. Intention to exchange in the market is an essential component of production. And there are different factors that are involved in production. First is land. Land includes all these free natural resources whose supply as a whole is fixed. Second is labor. Labor is all human effort or body of a mind undergone partly or wholly with a view to secure an income apart from the pleasure derived directly from the work. So labor is also an important component. Third is the capital, the money, the wealth that you are putting in while producing something. And the last one is the entrepreneurship, which is the person who organize business, initiate productions, and remunerate the factors of production. Because ultimately, if you are buying land, if you are engaging labor, if you are investing capital, then definitely your purpose is to get a return on those factors that has been employed. So entrepreneur is basically who organize businesses and also remunerates other factors of production, like he'll be paying the cost of the land, the labor, and he is also employing the capital in the production of a particular good. So in this unit, there are concepts which is you must have to remember in the production unit is basically the isocon. What are the different characteristics of land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur? There are different characteristics. Try to remember what are the different characteristics of these, because in the examination, questions is been asked about the characteristics of a particular factors of production. So it has been very simple one also. You just cursory reading or just understanding will give you the confidence that you may be able to distinguish between what comes in land, what comes in labor, capital, or as entrepreneurship. So different characteristics can be easily distinguished. Then there is production function. Is that relationship between labor and capital. Then I had talked about the short run and the long run production function. When one factor is variable, there is both the factors is variable. There is simple in your syllabus is talking about the Cobb-Douglas formula, called Douglas production formula. Q is equal to K L to the power A, and then C1 minus A, that has been given, where Q represent the quantity, L is the quantity of labor, and C is the quantity of capital. And there's one constant that has been there, that is K. Then there's law of variable proportions or law of diminishing return. Then there's return to scale, increasing return to scale, decreasing return to scale. Although the detailing is not been given in your syllabus, so only the distinctions, what is the distinction between return to scale and the law of variable proportion, this need to be understood. The concept of ISO cost line is similar to the budget line that you have studied in the indifference curve. So what is the equilibrium point, how that has been determined in the production theory, you need to remember that what is the ISO cost line, what is the ISO cost, and how that has been determined in the production functions. Next is the cost, the unit on cost. This is very important because the subsequent chapters of market equilibrium, the different types of market, perfect competition, monopoly, monopolistic, and oligopoly. The determination of price and output is very much dependent upon the shape of the cost curves. So it is very important, and you have to remember what is the shape and what is the definition of a particular production, a particular cost curve. Now, cost analysis refers to the study of behavior of cost in relation to one or more production criteria. It is concerned with the financial aspect of production. When you are producing something, there must be some cost involved. So it's mathematical relationship between cost and the various determinants. It expresses the relationship between the cost and the output. There are two cost functions, short-run cost functions and long-run cost function. There are distinctions that is already been given in your syllabus. I'm just briefing you about. Short-run is a period of time which output can be increased or decreased by changing only the amount of the variable factors. While in the long run, the quantities of all the factors can be varied. In other words, all factors become variable in the long run. So in the short run, one factor is constant. In the long run, both factors are variable. So accordingly, in the short run and the cost run, the elaborations is being done. Then in the short run cost functions, there are external economies to scale and internal economies to scale. Now, one thing is very important in the cost concept, and particularly in the examination, every time one question is normally been asked regarding the implicit and the explicit cost. What is normal cost? What is the direct cost? So the different types of cost that has been given in your study material, try to read it properly and try to remember the distinctions between them also. So in very average cost, then if you have to calculate average total cost, so how you will be calculating that thing. So you need to remember the thing. And while plotting the cost curve, what is the shape of the cost curve? that is also important. It's a downward sloping, upward sloping is parallel. That is already been given in your study material. Try to remember that thing and try to practice that. What are the two components that has been plotted on the x-axis in the cost curve? Generally, cost and the output is been plotted. So accordingly, the shape of the cost curve is very important in determining the output. So remember the shape of the cost curve and how the cost curve is been derived. Then the distinction between long run and short run cost curve. Economies of scale. Now, economies of scale are of two types: external economies of scale and internal economies of scale. External economies of scale accrue to a firm due to factors which are external to the firm, while internal economies of scale accrue to a firm when it engages in large scale production. Means you have to economize on your inputs that you are putting it for producing the output when you are engaging in large scale production. So you minimizes the wastage. Increase in scale beyond the optimum level results in diseconomies of scale. So ultimately, while deciding upon how much to produce depends upon your business acumen and the supply and the demand scenario of that particular product that a producer is producing. So all these factors comes into consideration while analyzing these scales of economies. So as I told you, production and cost are very important because production gives you what are the factors that are engaged in producing something, and cost is how much cost is there in producing something. So because ultimately if you want to produce something, so you are having the capacity to at least bear the whatever the cost in producing that thing. So ultimately you need to prioritize your strategy based on the cost that you will be incurring and the profit that you will be having after selling that particular product. So try to remember the shape and the size of the cost curve, the different distinction that has been there itself, that is already been given in your study material. Then there is an important concept of market structure, which is again the weightage is around 25 to 30%. Here there is different forms of market structure. What are the different forms? They are the perfect competition, the monopoly. In imperfect competition, there are two market forms, that is monopolistic competition and oligopoly. Now, there are distinctions on the basis of characteristics that these market structure is having. Now, like in the case of perfect competition, there is large number of firms which will be producing homogeneous product. Means you won't be distinguishing between the products that you are having. The price elasticity will be infinite and the degree of control over the price is none. Like in perfect competition, as the number of firms is high, so you won't have any control on the price. So these are the important characteristics of perfect competition. Then there are large number of firms. They are producing homogeneous product. The elasticity is infinite, and they have no control over the prices. There are different characteristics of perfect competitions that is already been there in the in your study material, and the determination of price and output under perfect competition is also been there. So try to practice it, that how that has been determined and what are the different characteristics also, because it's an important topic as part of your syllabus is concerned, and mainly a lot of questions is been asked in the types of or the forms of the market structure. Then comes monopoly. Monopoly is a market structure where is only one firm. They produce unique products without close substitutes. So you don't have any choices but to purchase that product only. The price elasticity is small, and the control over the prices is very considerable, because there is one firm which has been producing the thing, so he has a control over the prices. So out of all the market structure that I had talked about, the control on prices is more on in the monopoly form of market structure. Then there is monopolistic competition. Here also large number of firms are there, but the distinction between perfect competition and monopolistic competition, that here there is differentiation of product, that they sell differentiated product, because lot of cost is been incurred on advertising, so that your product is distinct from the other one. While in the perfect competition, it is homogeneous product, that all are selling the same product. In monopolistic competition, you can very much decide about what you have to purchase, because there are distinction among the products that is been produced. The price elasticity is large, because there is differentiation among the products. Control on price, there is some control on the price, because ultimately people is having the choices, and those preferred choices which the producer is producing, definitely he'll be an edge over the other. Then there is oligopoly form of market, where there are few firms. Here, either they produce homogeneous or they produce differentiated product. Price elasticity is small and degree of control is some. Now, in the examination, the question is been asked in the different forms of market structure. So how the price and the output is determined in the different market structure. Second thing is what is the type of product that has been produced, and what is the control of on the prices. So I've given you the distinctions about the three forms of market structure. there are few questions that has been coming about regarding the CA course and all. So that is not basically related to the subject. So since you have chosen that the course, now here we are focusing on those things that has been very useful for you for clearing your exam, and what are the important tips which we can give you regarding how to study, and what about the syllabus that has been there. So regarding this policy part, we are not be deliberating here, because that is already been done. You have enrolled in the CA course, and your next aim is to basically clear your foundation so that you can enter into intermediate and the final stage and pass the CA examinations. So mostly the questions has been coming is regarding the policy part, that it's a full-time course, is a regular college course, and all that is very much already been clarified. So when the result will be declared, these are all questions that has been beyond the purview of this BoS for success that is been doing. Basically, here we are telling you about how to prepare the subject and score well in the examinations, and what are the areas where you need to focus and how to study that. Already I had talked about the negative marking. What to produce, how to produce, that already I had discussed about. One question from Om is, sir, I have to start from today. Can I crack this examination? So time is less, but definitely you can try based on the timing you are putting in the paper. So definitely, if you study seriously, still there is time that you will be able to do well in the examination. Regarding one Miss Navya has asked about that I have not completed ICI study material. Can you score good marks? See, Navya, one thing is very clear, that the question is very much from the ICI study material only. So try to finish off what has been given in the study material, because that is very important. So if you have not started, start from today, reading all the chapters carefully and practicing all the questions that has been given at the end of the chapters. And one thing that is very important, there are points of summary or summary at the end of each chapter. Try to remember and read that thing. We are also having live virtual classes. Most of you have attended that classes, so that is also quite helpful. We are also having a mobile app where all the details, all this mock test papers and everything that is in video lectures and all that is already been there. So use that resources wisely and you'll be able to do well in the examination. The weightage I had already discussed, Raman. Sneha, please give some tips to boost confidence and not to panic during examination. See, the thing is, if you have prepared your subject thoroughly, there is no need to panic. All questions is having equal weightage. Don't leave any chapter. Try to read the study material thoroughly and you will be able to get good marks. So there's no scope for panicking. that depends upon how much effort that you are putting in your study time, and how much effort that you are putting in clearing the examinations. So paper economics and back come mixed or separately. Basically, this economics paper and business and commercial knowledge consist of 100 marks. So 40 marks question on business and commercial knowledge, 60 marks question in economics that has been there. Many of the questions has been repeated. Sir, it is my third attempt. Tell me what to do to reduce negative marking. Seetal, one thing that has been there, that whatever given in the study material, try to study very thoroughly and don't use guesswork, so that even if you are knowing the questions, if you guess suppose 10 questions wrong, so definitely your marks will be reduced. So try to mark those questions in which you are very confident about. Is there any amendments for economics? No. Sir, in economics paper back home makes the same question. I have a doubt since there was these question that you are asking that is beyond this preview of this mock test series that we are conducting. Here we are encouraging a student to study well and get good marks in economics. So all this policy questions that we won't be taking here, questions regarding the subject, I'm dealing with, and I'm giving you some tips also. Now the final unit is regarding the business cycle. Again, it's 15 to 20% weightage has been there itself. This is an important topic because that is related with macroeconomics. So the rhythmic fluctuations in economic aggregate that an economy experiences over a period of time is called business cycle. Business cycle is having 4 distinct phases. First is expansion, second is peak, third is contraction, and fourth is trough or depression. So expansion is characterized by increase in national output and all other economic variables. Expansion is characterized by increase in national output and all other economic variables. Second is peak or boom, that is prosperity time, refers to the highest point of the business cycle. If you draw the curve of the business cycle, the highest point is been marked as the peak point. Then is contraction. There is a fall in the level of investment and employment. That is the contraction phase. The economy is not growing at that pace what we are expecting. Then is trough or depression, when the recession is complete and the severe contraction of economic activities. When the depression in the economy, there will be contraction in the economic activities, and so trough or depression phase will be having. So these 4 phases of business cycle is very important, and there are questions that is been asked in the examination regarding these different phases. Then there is lagging indicator, leading indicator, and concurrent indicator. Try to remember the distinction between the two, because there are questions that has been asked in the examination, and you will be able to have a final distinction between all these. So economists use change in variety of activities to measure the business cycle and to predict where the economy is headed. These are called indicators. Then there is leading indicator that I had told you is a measurable economic factors that changes before the economy start to follow a particular pattern or trend. Then is lagging indicator that changes after real output changes. And there is coincident economic indicator which coincide or occur simultaneously with the business cycle movements. So this is also a very important topic, because when you study macroeconomics at the intermediate level, your knowledge of business cycle will help you in understanding the macroeconomic aspect of this. So one thing in preparing for economics is that I had already told you, try to understand all the concepts that is given in your study material. There is no time for panic right now, because your exam is right in the corner. You have to practice what is been given in the study module. Don't try to confuse yourself by too much of reading. Try to prioritize what you want to study. We will suggest you that you should focus on the study material that is being suggested by Board of Studies. So most of the aspect that is been asked in the examination is very much elaborated in the module or in the course curriculum that is been prescribed by Board of Studies. So focus on that. Then try to remember the distinction between the different concepts. Then MCQs that is been given at the end of each chapters. Try to practice the MCQs. One thing is, while attempting any series, try to finish off your syllabus, then attempt any test series, because ultimately if you have not completed your syllabus and you attempt, then you will get less marks and your confidence will be less. So first finish off whatever the syllabus that has been given. So then only attempt the questions. Then you will be able to answer it correctly and your confidence will be also good. How to manage time in this paper where the economics should be attempted first? And no, first you have to attempt economics, then after business economics you'll be attempting. So basically for 60 marks question paper in economics, mostly 1 hour 15 minutes time is allocated, and for 40 marks 45 minutes time is allocated. So the total amount of time that is there for paper 4 is 2 hours. If there are some question having 2 or more correct answer in the study material, see, particularly in objective type questions, there must be some options which has been very close. Try to, the distinction you can only make out when you have thorough with the concept. So that is what I am elaborating it time and again. Practice hard, try to understand the concept clearly, and then you will be able to score good marks in economics. That is very important for a student. What you have done in the past right now is not important. What you will be doing in the next 15-20 days is basically more important for you to score marks in the examination. So try to focus on the concepts, try to focus on the syllabus, and in summary, I just want to tell you that if you are making mistakes, it means you are learning. So mistakes means learning. Nobody is perfect in this world and nobody knows everything. So while learning, if you are making mistakes, means you are at least trying an attempt to learn the thing. And that is basically the mantra for success. So try to learn, make mistakes, try to learn from the mistakes, and the next attempt, don't repeat the same mistakes. So all the best. This is from my side. All the best for your examination. Do well and prepare well. All the best. Thank you.